Let's take you live now to Manchester, the scene of the Conservative Party conference. Day 3. Prime Minister, thank you for your time today. We hear that the Kircher family are going to speak at 9 o'clock, and I'm sure they're very much in your thoughts this morning. I don't know if you saw any of the trial and the verdict last night.
I did watch the verdict last night, and of course I feel for Meredith Kirchner's family, because they had previously had an explanation about what had happened to their daughter, and they don't have that anymore. And I think all of us should be thinking of them. I mean, obviously there is someone in prison for the murder still, but one can't help but think of the difficult time they will be going through.
Yeah, thank you for that. So to conference, and I just wonder about the mood of conference. I mean, today, Medical Matters, one of the headlines that don't deal with Amanda Knox today, is these 400 specialists and the open letter about government health reforms doing what they term irreparable harm to the NHS. This is the headache that won't go away for you, and it goes back to this sort of theme of same old Tories. And I just wonder, 6 years on from you inheriting this party, is it the same old Tories?
Well, the first thing I'd say is it was only the Conservative Party at the last election that said, let's protect the NHS and put more money into the NHS every year, even though we face difficult economic times. And we are putting an extra £12.5 billion into the NHS over the course of this government. Now, I've read carefully the letter this morning. It's mostly from public health officials, and they actually pick out in the letter that they approve of what the government is doing in terms of public health, because we must do better on things like smoking cessation and diet, many of the problems that are going to cause the health service so much cost in the future. But of course I understand there are many doctors in the health service who are concerned about greater choice and competition, but frankly I think it's right for patients, right for the future of our country, that we have a more open system where patients have greater choices. And what I hear from GPs, including Steve Field, who led our listening exercise over the summer, who's a working GP himself, is that there's enthusiasm for what we plan, because the patient's going to get an even better deal from our National Health Service. What's
the mood at conference? I mean, yesterday it was a pretty gloomy, and it was a serious, obviously, day with the Chancellor speaking. How would you describe the mood at conference? You're preparing us for the worst. How bad are things going to get?
I think the mood at conference is that the Conservative Party comes here to Manchester not wanting to talk to itself, but wanting to address squarely the problems that the country faces. And right now we are in difficult economic times. We were recovering from a deep recession. We've had a debt crisis around the world. Our growth was already slow, and obviously what's happening in the Eurozone has a big impact on us here in Britain. And so I think the message going out of this conference is that these are difficult times. We're going to try and help you through these difficult times, for instance, by freezing the council tax, which we announced yesterday when so many other household bills are going up. But we do want to take the difficult and tough decisions that will give us a better future in this country, an economy that is for everyone, and also welfare and education and immigration rules that mean that if you do the right thing, you bring up your children properly, you put into our country, then you should be rewarded rather than punished. I think those themes are coming through very strongly.
Yeah, and those difficult choice themes as well. I mean, everybody wants their slice of the cake. Child benefit must be one of those difficult choices that you have to face. There is talk, there is a bit of a disagreement between you and the Chancellor on that. What do you want to do as regards child benefit?
There's no disagreement between us. We announced that we're going to have to take child benefit away from couples where there's someone on paying tax at the higher rate, and we're going to be doing that from 2013. We've frozen child benefit for everyone else, and the reason for that is we're putting extra money in to help the poorest families. Child tax credits for the poorest families are actually going up by £290. We're trying to protect people during this difficult period and make sure that the families on the lowest incomes get the greatest help. And when it comes to paying down the deficit, we've brought in that bank levy. We've kept the 50p rate of tax. We're actually making sure that people do pay the taxes they're meant to pay, because we want to be a fair government at this difficult time.
OK, you're keeping that rate. One thing that many of your members and supporters would like you to get rid of is the European Human Rights Act. The Home Secretary is talking about that today. Is it true that Nick Clegg is stopping you renegotiating that?
Well, the truth is that in coalition we had to make some compromises. What the coalition agreement says is that there's going to be a commission that will examine whether we could have a British Bill of Rights to replace and improve the Human Rights Act. But what we're doing today is, even before that, is trying to deal with one of the problems, which is the number of foreign prisoners in Britain that we find it difficult to deport because they appeal under what's called the right to a family life. We're rewriting the immigration rules to say, look, if someone threatens this country, if they're a foreign national prisoner, then they ought to be able to be deported, and that should override the right to family life. And we believe that will make a difference in our courts. This is a serious problem. Theresa May has addressed it in a very serious way, and I think that will make a difference.
Well, if this was a Tory-only government, you would, I'm sure, be firing on all cylinders. Let's assume you've got 6 cylinders in your engine. How many, because of the coalition, do you think you're firing on?
Oh, I think we're firing on all 6 because, to be fair to our coalition partners, this is a government where we don't sit around and say to ourselves, well, because we don't agree on everything, we can't do anything. We've actually been very positive and said, look, we've got to have a plan to deal with the deficit. It's time to have more academy schools and free schools, which Michael Gove will be talking about. It's time to reform welfare, to get rid of the something-for-nothing culture and make sure that people who can work do work. We're doing all these things in spite of being in a coalition government. I think it is a positive sleeves rolled up government, and that's what the country needs. And there's some other point I'd make. Around Europe today, actually it's terribly important, with all the economic difficulties, to have a strong and stable government that people know is going to last its term. And I think whatever people think about this government, they can see it's strong, it's stable, it's making decisions and getting things done.
People are hurting. I suppose they want to see some result for what they're going through. At the rate you're going at the moment, how long will it take to get rid of the deficit you inherited from Labour? Or if we never get rid of it, how long does it take to get that under control, do you think?
Well, our aim is to get rid of the structural deficit during this Parliament. The structural deficit is that bit that doesn't otherwise go away when the economy grows. It's the bit, as it were, that you're left with. And so it's the bit that shows you're living beyond your means permanently. So that has to be dealt with this Parliament. We've set out a plan. Some people make the mistake of thinking it all happens in one go. This is a multi-year plan. But what it's done for us as a country is it's given us the very low interest rates we have, because the key point is this year our deficit, our annual overdraft, if you like, is actually bigger than Greece's, but our interest rates are just 2.5%. That doesn't just mean that the government borrows without too much cost. It also means mortgage rates are low, and there's nothing that would do families more damage than a spike in interest rates, a spike in mortgage rates, to add to an already difficult situation. So the deficit reduction plan is not some bureaucratic plan dreamt up in Whitehall. It's absolutely essential for family finances right across the country.
Prime Minister, just before I say goodbye to you, you speak tomorrow. I'm sure you've had easier conferences in terms of mood and celebration in your time. Is it all doom and gloom? How can you raise spirits when you take to that centre stage?
I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think this party knows and the country knows you have to take difficult decisions, but that's for a purpose. It's to build a stronger economy, an economy for all, and to build a better society where people feel if they put in, they'll get something out. And I think what I've got to do tomorrow is be realistic about the situation we face, but raise people's eyes to the horizon and the prize that's really worth gaining, which is an economy that is more balanced, less reliant on financial services, more balanced across the country, and that provides good jobs for our people. And a society where you can get a good school, we can get people off welfare into work, we can control immigration. A sense of can-do optimism, I think, is required from the government, and that's exactly what I'll be talking about tomorrow.
Like Bob the Builder, can do. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Cameron. Thank you for your time, and have a good rest of conference. Thank you.